Hi, welcome to Jade Kind Gaming. My name is Adam, and today I get to unbox more Dwarven Forge. This is, as always, super exciting for me. This is my third set. I first got the Zaltar's Game Room, which is a nice mix of some standard just walls and floors and a few fancy pieces. It was a nice mix of that. And then I got whatever the classic or the starter set, whatever. The basic, just a bunch of walls, floors, corners, basics to just help fill out the space. This is the Fanatic's Trove. This is basically the same layout as Zaltar's Game Room, but all fancy stuff. All fancy. It's fun. I can't wait. So, and it's specifically, it is fancy stuff that tends to build out the walls and floors. I thought that was a good option to still continue the expansion of how much coverage I have, but give myself a bunch of fun options. And of course, being Dwarven Forge, comes in a nice brown box. Just very plain, simple sticker label to show what's inside of it. Doesn't actually even show the name of the set on there. It's SKU 5 Fan P. Fanatic's Trove. P painted. I did get painted. I will probably always get painted unless I'm getting something because I want to do some sort of weird paint set myself. Let's delve in here and look at some of this. Thank you for your support. You're welcome, Dwarven Forge. Thank you for making, like, some of the most fun toys ever. Okay. And there are, of course, duplicates. Most of the things in here are in pairs. Because it makes kind of almost a symmetrical room. And I'll show that and build something of my own with it as well. So we have this corner here that has this curvy bit because it is magnetic. Something... let's actually get here, before we get into this, I guess, some of the littler bits. We get 2 of these little things that can just kind of sit up against a wall. They're, let me get a little closer. Kind of like weapon racks. So we have a couple of those. Here are 6 of these little torch sconces, and they'll plug into the LED bits when we get them. Let me take them. They're all little safety packaged. I'll take one of them out right now to show you, and so that I have it to plug in when we get to LED bits. So you have little leads there, and you have that. And then I grabbed this because we have these 2 spurts of flame, some sort of fire trap, and they are magnets. So they show off that they will stick to this magnetic ball here. So, so yeah, that's magnetic corner. Here we have a arch that can insert either like a wall here and just make it a wall, or maybe a secret door that looks like a wall, or there's bars, and we'll get to some of those shortly, I'm sure. Oh yeah. And what I love here is just the variety. Okay, so we get this. What do they call that? They called it like an Eldritch or arcane door, like an Eldritch lock door. Like saying this is some sort of big arcane symbol that is keeping the door shut, and it's got a metal back and a little eye detail up here. For me, just another variety, another option for a door. Oh, these are great. I don't have any of these. This door is wider. These will go when you have the side up against it. So if you have another wall right against here and you only have this 1.5 wide tile before you get to a wall, these are the narrow doors to fit in those spaces. And I haven't had any doors that fit in those spaces, so now I got a couple here. And they're just simple wooden doors, but they're narrower. You know, simple, but important. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, just 1 by little pieces, 1 by 4 tiles. You can make a 2 by 2 spot with them, but you can also use them just for filling in all sorts of little gaps. Definitely have been useful. And I know what this is. I can tell because I can feel a little play here. So that looks like just sort of another floor tile, of course. But this set did include, I saw it, does have this little thing. It's got a magnet on the back here. It's a spike trap. So you have whatever this floor bit, which, you know, you could just also use it as an extra floor if you just need an extra floor. It's got this metal on the back, so you can lift it up with a magnet really easy when it's set inside of all the other floor bits, and lift it up, and you got spikes, and you got like a skeletal corpse down there. But yeah, that's a trap floor, which is great fun. It's just so much fun. Those were the kind of things, the little gimmicks, like spike floors, that me as a kid saw and was like, I want to get this stuff so bad. So, very neat. Here is the second of the magnetic corners. And the second of the open arches for the inserts. Oh, and what good timing. There's some stuff here, but we also have our inserts. So we have 2 arches, 2 different types. Yeah, these, like I said, could just be a wall or a secret door. So yeah, you can make them both that, or we have the bars here, which this is actually one of the things I really wanted from this, is because I want to get several of these. I want to do some sort of weird prison build dungeon at some point. So I think a bunch of these would be neat. And then, of course, they have other text pages. But yeah, so you have 2 different little inserts to utilize those. We also have this little treasure pile. It's got some bones. Looks like a book. A big old gem. A little treasure chest. A goblet and a bunch of gold coins. So there's just a little treasure pile that can be laid out on the floor. I'm sure my players are going to want to get me to get all sorts of these. And then another little thing that is wrapped up for safe transport. There we go. No, not something I thought about. Okay, but we got this little guy. And this guy kind of reminds me of like the door knockers from Labyrinth. But he's got this, I guess this is supposed to be a beard from which these chains are now hanging. And this, much like those spurts of fire, will magnetic into a corner. So it can be attached to a wall. And then this goes down to these ends, which in theory, from what I've been told, you take Mini, oh, this one's an easy one. It has a very narrow arm. Anyways, there's a little space between it, and there's a little, you know, they can play a little bit. The point is you can chain someone's arms to the wall with it, so that way you can use whatever Mini you have and use this thing to chain them up. Carrying on, we have, ooh, this one's got a light. Okay. So this is another corner, and this one's a curved corner. And if you want to pull this out so the battery can go, if you want to make like a normal tile, you can use an insert, but they leave it blank so that if you have something like you want to put your spike trap closer to the corner, you can. So they leave the space blank for that. But it's got little holes here. And on this side here, switch. So yeah, you have a little light, or it can just be a curved corner, and you could ignore the fact that those little things are there. They are small and unobtrusive as far as I'm concerned. But this also, the way that this one is set up, as opposed to the magnet, which obviously needed the space for the magnet inside of it, so it's a corner on the back side. You can also use this as this side of the room, and say have a passageway going through and have an outside curve based on this side. So also useful in that. And there are two of those, so you have a second one there. Same thing. And yeah, these are simple, just a couple of 1x walls. So again, much like the 1x floors, fill in some extra gaps. These also help with filling in little bits of space where you need it when you're doing fancier stuff. This I haven't gotten to see up close. These floors are difficult terrain. You got two of them, the same, but they're, you can tell on the side, they're the normal floors, but they are broken and rubbly, and so they would be difficult terrain. You can still kind of see enough of the edges to tell where your spaces are. But yeah, so you got just like a rubble option for your floors. Looking at some of the details on there. This one, again, like these, this is another one that fills a different kind of gap space. It's a 1x4, so it's the size of their most standard tiles, you know, which is four of the spaces, only instead of being a block, they're a line. So again, fills a different kind of space. Alright. What are these? So these just, these are the classic dungeon look, and, oh, they are magnetic. So these are classic dungeon walls, so they don't have the columns, but you can tell by the little symbol on the bottom, which, by the way, there is a symbol on the bottom, so you don't have to take all of your identical walls and just try and hold something against it and see if it sticks or not to find out. You can use that to search for the ones that are going to hold a magnet. And on these, I can tell, I don't know if you can kind of see a little seam there where this top plate has been placed on. The magnet is, or its metal is behind. I can actually see some of the seams. I'm not sure, I'm guessing the seam goes along here, but that one's hidden, but I can see some of the seams. Which I guess on this one, the reason I don't see it is because it's hidden with this natural wall with the design. So that's, I'm sure, something that they just learned as they went on. Because I was like, I didn't see that on this. No, I'm sure it's just hidden by this shape. And we got a couple more, basically classic dungeon walls. But these ones have our little pull tabs. And you can tell this little brick in the center here. I'm going to take a light. Got a switch in the back. And you can turn on the light there. Turn it back off. I don't have anything for those yet, do I? I do. Okay. These are something that I have never had. So there's 2 of them, of course. And they're these little plinths spaces here, but they have this metal pole on the bottom. A pole accessory. And I have never... this is the first set that I've gotten that has any of these. For example, in this here, and I actually at first didn't know I had gotten any that had it because I didn't see it. There's a little hole right in the corner there that this can slide into. So now you can actually have a pole here, which, you know, you could have, you know, a statue or monster or whatever you have, like someone can stand upon, make a decorative piece, whatever it may be. But basically you can further decorate the options with that, and that's the first time I've gotten one of these pole accessory pieces. We also have big old floor, 4x4. So this one is extra large, making it easier to cover a larger space of floor quicker. Here we have 2 I got 2 of them. Corner doors. These, again, these utilize the same little door from the narrow door frame, but this one is a normal square and it's shoved into a corner. Kind of given a little diagonal there, but just, you know, another spot that, you know, you can't really just put a door in a normal build, but now you can with this specialty piece. So we have these all the same, I believe. Yeah. We have 4 pillars, and of course you can, if you wanted, you can set them all together, make like a pillar there, but ideally the point is that these are to fill corners. Why would you need that, you may wonder. Let's say you have these 2 meet, and just because of the way your bill has gone, they're meeting, and you got this space here. Heck, who wants that? I've already dealt with that in some of the things I've tried to build. But this pillar, which has this cool gargoyle look to it, like it's holding up, he can come right along and fill the space. So he's going to fill that and turn an ugly corner where things are just meeting like that and there's a weird gap and fill it up and make it look decorative and fancy. Can also be put upside down if you want to be mean to the gargoyle. So there were 4 of those to help. This is another. This here is a breached wall. So big broken bits of rock here. Bits of rubble off to the side, but nothing on these actual spaces here. I mean, we have the rubble here if you want to throw the rubble on the other side and say, oh, that's where that came from. But great way if you want to break out where you have an entrance in the side of a constructed building, if you want to go into caves or tunnels and have what seems like a more natural transition of why, you know, how it got between the two. If you want to have, you know, an extra passage that, you know, just helps with coming up with why the dungeon is constructed the way it is and why it works the way it does, but adding an extra door where it doesn't make sense, the wall can be broken through by something. Or to, you know, be ominous as far as there's something in here that can break through walls, get ready to fight it. And our final piece, yep, is one that I do. No, I don't have. Do I? Yes, I checked. I do. This is available in Zaltar's game room. I do have it. The center is magnet. On both sides here are little spots for lights. You have one on each side. Because I've had lights in them for so long, I did not realize that there were bits that stuck out that those were on. So like, is that slightly different? No, it's the same. But you got your switch on the back, and it'll light up both lights. And it's just, you know, decorative higher space as well. Yeah. So yeah, in general, fancy bits, either lighting up, magnetic, specialty sculpts, traps, treasures, things to fill in weirder spots, or even some of them are just like either weird shapes or extra large to help with, you know, various needs that you might have when building with your Dwarven Forge. I'm going to now construct the dungeon, the room that they have constructed, which is basically taking these pieces and building the same shape room as Zaltar's game room. Because they all kind of go together and making a really fancy version of that shape room. So I put together Fanatic's Trove sort of in the way that they styled it on their image. And upon doing so, I did realize something. You know, the box does include the little list of what's supposed to be included. And it is supposed to have 2 of the, like, bolt launchers or arrow traps that are magnetic. And it was missing those. So I sent them an email, and I'll put just a note in the description, you know, thoughts on how they dealt with, you know, something missing. I went through all the plastic and cleaned that up off the floor to make sure it wasn't in there. But so as far as the customer service and fixing that issue, I'll put a comment in the description below. But I do have one of them, so I can kind of show you what it looks like, because one of them came in Zaltar's game room, and there's supposed to be 2 of these in their build. One would go here, and the other would go right over here. And so yeah, if you saw my Zaltar's game room video, this is very much the same big room, small room layout of that. And this has a few extra pieces, of course, the extra covers because it used the bars, and then the narrow doors weren't used in this. But definitely, let's say, a fancier build here. So you get whatever pieces here. I do love getting my camera down in the dungeon here, as say. Pedro's exploring. Yeah. So we have, of course, all these lights can turn on, and they flicker. Hello? Can someone let me out of here? I'm stuck in here with treasure and fire. Some points in this corner, the corner fill right over here sat perfectly flush up against the wall as intended. In this one, it's just like with the angles that some of the things are, because it's not perfectly square, it kind of leans away from the wall a bit. I mean, it's fine, but just something to note. Obviously, there are some inconsistencies with that. And then these ones over here are just kind of out in the middle, almost decorating around the door frame. so they don't sit very well at all. But so we do have a lovely pre-constructed build for, you know, how you can put this together. Of course, of course I built this on the terrain tray to make it easy to move and slide around. But that is terrain tray sold separately. But also, I'm going to take a look and see what I can just playing with it a little bit myself, what I can come up with as a cool build. And so I got a little dungeon room of my own, clearly different layout, a bit larger center room with a bit more of a narrow passageway around, because I wanted to make sure to use at least one of the narrow doors. That was one of the exciting things in this for me. Didn't end up with many spaces where I needed the column, but I did fit one of them in. And I will say on here, on this one, I fit it in. And just a little bit of, I tore off the sticky bit from a Post-it note and folded it up on the side that was the wrong area, and that was enough just to shim it where it leans into the corner instead of out of it. And very simple thing, very quickly got it set up where it looks nice. So with the ones where when it's leaning away from the wall, you can kind of shim it up against it with just a little bit of Post-it note. And to show kind of a concept here, because obviously with these it's like, you know, where these, well, I mean, like here I have a door, and across from it is a magnetic wall. The idea is when the player goes up to open the door, that's when you throw in the fire and say, you fell for it, now you're on fire. You don't just have them necessarily sitting there the whole time. But we have our little thing, and the back end of this is still that Eldritch door, but you know, by turning it inwards, it looks like just sort of a metal door to a passage with another little door, and then we have our barred area, to which I just used just a tile to sort of represent a little cell, and there's some treasure in there, so they break their way in, and it crumbles to be a pit trap. Oh no, they were fooled. Sort of around the corner, like I said, that fire trap when they open this door, though, there is another door heading out this way into some room beyond. But if they get into this center room, where perhaps is what their goal is, perhaps they're trying to rescue their friend chained up here. In this room, perhaps a torture room, and there's some implements of torture over there. And then, of course, there's a broken throughway. Maybe the passage, maybe the room got, or the dungeon was abandoned by some creature burrowing into it that now is threatening them. The original captors are gone. But perhaps over here, there is a secret passage out. Very useful if, say, we do use this Eldritch door to lock behind them once they're inside. Little set, pretty simple. Come up with, not just, cool little room, and you combine multiple sets and you get cool dungeons, and it's fun, and I'm loving collecting it. I'm continuing to collect it. My collection shall continue to grow because I am having so much fun with it. But even just one little set can come up with a little room and hallway encounter that you can use in your game with just getting started. So definitely as it grows, you can do more with it. But even just from the start, you got usefulness out of just a little set here. And again, lots of fancy pieces in this set. Lots of cool looking stuff. Obviously more expensive for a smaller footprint for getting so many fancy pieces, but they help fill out area and make it cool and exciting. I'll link down below where you can pick this up on Dwarven Forge's site. And like I said, I'll also put a comment if I've heard back from them, if they've sent a replacement for the pieces that we're missing. But yeah, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Give me your own recommendations as far as, gotta check out sets, etc. Thanks for watching. Bye. you.